Should I do it? Just you thought I was gonna cut this beard, but I'm gonna stay strong. So many of you guys want me to cut it, but today we got a great tutorial, hard part, skin fade, the whole 9 yards. But most importantly, and what I want to focus on today is how we cut the top with the scissors. So without any further ado, let's just go. So as you can see, he came in, like this, long hair don't care. We'll take the 1 1/2 and we're gonna rock right up the side of his head. We're gonna get rid of all that bulk. I'm gonna speed this up, man. I'm gonna try to make these more efficient, more impactful, and less difficult to sit through. So we're just gonna move all the way up. Not really too concerned about making the blend perfect. This is just a rough draft. I gotta be able to see what's going on under the hood. You can't get too deep into a haircut so you can see what you're doing. So we're gonna do this clipper over comb action. I'm gonna take my time with this, tip it out towards me, cut, sort of lift up in a way, but the main thing is you never want to be tipping that comb into the head. So a good, for instance, is I never really want to be making cuts when it is tipped in towards the head, especially not below the parietal ridge. So just cutting, lifting, moving away from the head, and that's going to be beautiful. We're going to have no problems there, and things are going to move smooth for us. So it's going to be a couple times. I'll return back to the clipper over comb a handful of times during this process because I want to make sure that I got it right, and I don't want to take too much off at the same time. So just take your time, take a little bit off at a time, and you're going to be good to go, man. And that's just how you're going to get your clipper over comb good. And for a thorough explanation of the clipper over comb, we did a good live on it, and we also have the clipper over comb tutorial that I really worked hard at, 30 minutes. I've thought about redoing this video, but that video I felt like I really covered it pretty well. So check it out, let me know what you think. If you want me to drop another one, I can always do that. So once we've gotten this part done, we've really simplified things. We've really kind of identified where we're going to work. I'm just going to roughly tap this line in here. As you can see, he's had a few hard parts. There's a lot of little hairs there, and this can actually be kind of difficult. So I try to get as close to the long side as I can with this first movement, and I'm not too worried about the downside. I just want to define my parameters a little bit and kind of figure out where I'm going to work at. So I just kind of touch that top line a little bit, and I'll deal with the rest of that in a minute. So let's just throw this line in around the ear. Decided to use my Gamma Absolute hitters. These things cut like a beast, man. They put a sick line in, and it's kind of fun to use trimmers around the ear if you're going to keep it a little bit on the lower side like I did in this case. But of course, I'm going to switch to the 5-0 to remove the bulk of the section, get rid of all that fast and efficient. And just so you guys know, this entire haircut really only took me like 20 minutes. So, I mean, you see me speeding it up here, and it's going to take me time to explain it to you, but it's a fast haircut when you know what you're doing. We're going to come in with the electric shaver, flicking out just before we reach that line, and we're going to make sure that we don't got no line in between the bottom and that 5-0 area. So that's a real big key right there. Make sure it's clean before you move on. Switching over to the, let's switch over to this here camera, and let's make sure that we have all that we need to give you a thorough explanation of what's going on here. So we have the trimmer line, we did that, and we did the skin line, and now we're putting in the open taper. So I'll put the open taper here, and I'm just moving up with it in the open position, flipping out, and I just want to begin closing it and staying a little bit lower, crisscrossing it, keeping it on its flush, keeping it flush up against the head. So each time I move it down a notch, I stay a little bit lower. Let's say I click it one more notch, we'll stay a little bit lower. I click it one more notch, we'll stay a little bit lower, until what you're going to see here is a perfectly smooth transition all the way up to the open taper. Then the very next step up is half, so I'll put 0.5 in the open position. So I'm going to do the exact same thing again. Wide open, all the way up. All right. And I'm going to begin closing it little by little, closing it. And each time I close it, I stay a little bit lower until this is gone. What you're going to see now, working in order, working with this very easy to follow method, is it's just going to fall into place. So we're going to do the same thing with the number 1 open. 1 open. And remember, we did the 1.5 on the sides with the detachable, which is why it came out so easy in between that one. So a lot of you guys, a big struggle I see is a lot of you guys are trying to do too much with your clients who come in with really long hair. So do what I did, knock it down. It might seem like it's taking you extra time, but it's actually going to take you less time, and you have less to deal with and less work to redo and less cleanup work at the end of your cut. So as you can see, now I'm using my texturizing shears. This is such an important little technique, and I'm using some freehand texturizing shears. So what I'm basically doing is I'm going directly to those areas that are bothering me. I'm thinning out the density of that area, and I'm making it look more smooth. Now, you definitely want to make sure that you have a very fine pair of texturizing shears to attempt this technique. You don't want to do this with notching shears, or you'll just cut a bald spot. So remember in the beginning, I've now sort of defined my parameters a little better. So I take the gammas, flip them upside down, hit the other side of that line. That line's good. I'll touch it with a straight razor later, and we're going to approach the rest of this cut the exact same way. So on this side. Now, one of the things I'm excited to get into in just a second is going to be the scissor cutting that's going to take place on the top. So I'm going to give you a top view, and I'll give you like a front view. So let's say this is the person in their front view, and this is their head. So they're happy. They're very happy. So this is going to actually be really, really simple to follow. I know that a lot of you guys are starting to get more comfortable with clippers. Some of you guys are starting to get more comfortable with the fade. Some of you guys are telling me all the time and every day, and I appreciate it that you're starting to grow. And that's what this is all about, and that's what makes me happy. So we're going to actually talk about how to cut the top with shears, because I know a lot of you guys are not super, super comfortable with that just yet. So before I do that, I just want to finish out the blend here. As you can see, it's looking pretty smooth. Everything's pretty cool. We can jump up to the 1 1/2 open, 1 1/2 closed, because on this side, this is the long side of the hard part, and usually it's going to give you a little bit more trouble than the other side in most cases, because there's more hair there, and we're trying to take it from absolute skin to up to the top. So we want to make sure that we get this thing really smooth. And just make sure that you guys are not on step 5 when you're not done with step 2 or step 3. This is a common thing I've talked about. And as a matter of fact, I just released a video. I'm not sure if it's going to be uploaded at the time that this is uploaded, but it basically said like 5 or 7 fails of like where barbers tend to fail the most. And if I can, I'll drop that in this video link at the end, so that you guys can see like the most common problems I've encountered while teaching. Mind you, I taught for 10 years at a barber school, and I've taught a lot online, and I can tell you there's definitely, most people are failing in the same areas over and over again. And if we can just get things going little by little, we're going to figure out how to solve those problems. So again, now when we're in a cleanup phase, this is a place where a lot of people make a mistake. They start seeing the end, man. You see the end of the tunnel. You wanna hurry up and get this out. Flick it, and boop, you put in a skin. Oh man, you made a little mistake. Now you gotta go back through and you gotta fight with it. So take your time, get through this process, move nice and slow, make sure everything's methodical, and you've been thorough and you know your neighboring guards. So the times where you get trapped while you're doing your blend, let's say that you got a little mistake and you don't know what it is, right? Well, go to the neighboring guard that's above it and look at the neighboring guard that's below it, and make sure that you trap your fade in between those 3 spots, because that's actually what happened to me in the back of this haircut. I know it's moving fast and it might be hard to see, but I noticed that the blend looked smooth and it looked good, but it wasn't high enough, so I needed to fade trap. So what I did was I trapped between my 1 open and my closed taper. So I just ran through the steps, 1 open, 1 closed, half open, half closed, open taper, closed taper. So I trapped in between those steps to revisit those areas and make sure that I got all of that smoothed out and just ready to go. Smooth as silk. I like the way the blend's looking. I love how this hair looks when he's done. When he comes in, I like working with this particular haircut because his texture of his hair, he's got just enough curl, and he's still got that white boy hair though, so it'd be showing off all them lines if you mess it up. But it lays really nice, and this is a good style. And shout out to him, long time client, actually becoming a lawyer. So you know he's pretty sharp upstairs too while we at it. You know, all right, let's get this started in the center. Okay, top view. Remember, this is my top view. Okay, and all I'm doing, if I was looking at the top view, is I'm creating this mohawk guideline, and I'm going to cut, making sure that I maintain 90 degrees. 90 degrees simply means straight out from where the hair grows, meaning that it would mimic the shape of the scalp if I was to comb it straight up. So straight out from here, from here, from here. Okay, now all I'm doing, I cut that section right here. I cut this section right here low. Okay, so that's this section, right? Now all I'm doing is I'm sectioning up some hair beside it, right? And I'm going to start working just beside it, and I'm going to move back. So I'm taking just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm using my guide is right here, is a stationary guideline, but it also becomes a traveling guideline, because once you direct this hair back just a little bit at a time, you're gonna notice that your guide is gonna travel with you. Okay, so pretty soon, you're gonna have this entire section cut properly. Then we're gonna jump over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing, where we're going to begin cutting, following the shape of the head, and moving back. Little by little by little, we move off of our guidelines. So we're moving just to the left, just to the right, just to the left, just to the right, and we're going to keep it smooth, keep it moving. So as we get all the way down to the end, one thing that's really a pet peeve when it comes down to the hard parts. All right, see me over directing, coming forward. I want to make sure that I've gotten all the bangs, because he's going to wear his bangs up and off of his head. Now, if your client wears his bangs, we talked about that before, I'm not going to mention it now, but being that he wears it up and off of his head, it's not really a big deal what you do with them. Cut them with the rest of the hair, make sure it's even, make sure it blends in. But one pet peeve that just drives me nuts about these hard parts, it really does, is people leave it so long on that hard part side, and there's no value in that. How many times have you went to cut a hard part, you comb it up, and you see it's super long right by the part? There's no need for that, but there is a reason for that. It's because when they held it, they were not at 90 degrees, they directed it this way. So then when it came back, it wound up twice as long. So hold it at 90 degrees on that section. You'll reduce that weight. The client's hair will look better, especially when he puts product in it, especially when he takes care of it. And you're gonna have a happier client and a much better looking result, as a matter of fact. So I really believe that this is probably the easiest damn way you could possibly cut the top. I can't think of any easier way to do it. And as long as you're thorough and you follow your guides, you're going to be able to follow this right down the side of the head until you have all this hair all cut to 90 degrees, whatever you want. And your client's going to be happy, and you're going to be happy. So I would caution you against getting discouraged by a lot of the tutorials that you see online where people are seriously overcomplicating shear work. They really do this all the time. I'm not sure why. But there is reasons for cutting things differently at times, but this is a system that could get you by. Trust me, I've used it a lot. This is what I actually use like 99% of the time. Now what I like to do is I like to do a little shear over comb. Kind of a different technique. This requires a little bit more practice, a little bit more in-depth stuff, which you can catch in another video. But just connecting the back and the sides to the top now is very simple with some scissor over comb. And of course, use your texturizing shears, use your thinning shears, get up in there, knock it out, make it smooth. So I really hope this helps, man. And I hope that you guys, check out this video and other videos when you need help. And I hope you guys check out my comment section, drop whatever you don't understand. I'm trying to do my best, make my best effort to reply to every single comment I can, as hard as it can be sometimes. But other than that, man, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. And this is the YouTube Barber Academy. I'm Mr. Eddie Barber, and I really hope you can join us on the lives where we can dive deep and we could talk a bunch of stuff. And by the way, I give away something of good value, I think, almost every single time. And just in case you don't join the lives, I might remind you one more time at the end. Also, big shout out to Tito Beats. That's who's making these beats. So check them out in the description if you're interested in those beats. And thank you to Ant the Barber for putting me on to Tito, because I'm really happy with these. this music, and let me know what y'all think about this. If you think it's dope or whatever, it's dope. It's only gonna get doper from here. Check out my man Anthony Barber's channel too. Another great barber. All right, I'm gonna quit rambling. I'm gonna let you guys finish watching the video, and I'm gonna get to work on my next one. Peace. Wait a minute, before you guys go, I want to invite you to hit that bell, hit subscribe, and stick around because we're going to go live all the time. It's far more interactive, it's a lot more intuitive, you'll learn a lot more, and we'll go through this video and many others as we continue to grow. We build off each lesson from the last week, so don't miss out on that opportunity. It's free, it's fun, and we're going to have a good time and a lot of guests, and we do giveaways. So I encourage you guys, hit subscribe. Other than that, man, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.